Oleg was driving home from his site, where he was already planning to start construction. It had been dark for a long time, so he drove thoughtfully along the highway and imagined how soon he would build his dream house. However, as he drove through the dark forest, he saw a female silhouette on the right. At first, Oleg thought he was seeing something. Maybe I'm overtired, he thought, but stopped on the side of the road. When he got out of the car, he realized that there really was someone in the forest. A very frozen girl was walking to the meeting. When he got closer to her, at first he was afraid that she might be crazy. But outwardly she was well dressed, and there was complete despair and a plea for help in her eyes. "What are you doing here in such a cold and at such a time?" he asked the stranger. In front of him was a beautiful girl with blonde hair who was so chilled from the cold that she couldn't talk properly. "I need your help," she said, and covered her face with mittens to somehow warm her face. "Okay, let's go to my car, get warm." "Tell me everything," Oleg said, and took the girl by the arm and escorted her to the car. "I ran away from my husband. He is a tyrant, he threatens. I ran blindly. I don't even know how I ended up in the forest," she said, and began to cry. Oleg thought about it. It's strange how you could run to the forest, where there is not a single house nearby. "You have nowhere to go, so I suggest you stay with me. We'll decide what to do there, we'll think about it," he replied, and they went to him. Oleg lived in a one-room apartment that he bought 5 years ago. He dreamed of moving into his house, but took his time and saved money during these 5 years. After cooking dinner for the girl, he sat down opposite her. "What's your name? Tell me more about your husband, we should go to the police." He was serious. "I'm Elena." "You can't go to the police, everyone knows him there, nothing will happen to him." "I'm afraid," she said, and began to cry again. "So, let's calm down, eat, get stronger and rest. I'll call my friend in the morning, I'll check everything about your husband, he's working for me in the police. I'll make a bed for you in the living room, I'll lie down on the cot myself. Make yourself at home," Oleg said, and left the girl to eat. "You are very kind," she said softly, shyly lowering her eyes. In the morning, Oleg, on his way to work, first of all contacted Nikolai, who was a police officer. "However, I haven't even heard of Elena's husband." Oleg was surprised. "I decided to find out the details after my work." In the evening, when he returned home, he found a police detachment near his house. There were about 3 cars and a lot of employees. "What's going on here? It seems that decent people have always lived in my house," he asked one of the employees. "The girl was found, she robbed a bank and fled the scene of the crime. They searched for her for 2 days, and today she called her parents from the phone. We immediately found out the location and came here. However, Oleg Yurievich, you are also coming with us. Get in the car." "The call was made from your apartment," he answered, and took the guy's arm. "What? What does it mean?" Oleg was surprised, and at the same moment saw Elena being led out of the entrance in handcuffs. "Elena, did your husband do this?" The guy was shocked by the situation. "I don't have a husband," the girl answered through tears, and they put her in the car. Oleg was interrogated in the department, forced to confess and immediately tell where the money was. "Otherwise you will be an accomplice. Write a letter of appreciation. We didn't find the money in your apartment, where did you put it with her? And yes, we know that it was you who encouraged her to commit such an act." The employee spoke in raised tones. "First of all, I'm not an accomplice, I couldn't put her up to it. It's the second day I've known her." Oleg replied sternly. Then how to explain the fact that a bank employee with good experience at 6 years old and with excellent reviews from the director suddenly stole a large amount and disappeared? "Only you could," the man continued to shout at him. "I have proof on the DVR. I found this girl in the woods yesterday and decided to help her, took her home. I didn't know her before, the accused persisted. Oleg was released on his own recognizance. He was shocked that a stranger had framed him so badly. Oleg trusted her, wanted to help, but he himself is now suspected of such a serious matter. He couldn't sleep all night and thought about Elena. He was thinking that the story was not easy and a good decent bank employee could not steal money for no reason. When morning came, Oleg immediately called Nikolai and invited him to his house. An hour later, he was already sitting in his living room. Did this sensational story touch you too? You like to get into all sorts of trouble, Nikolai laughed. What do you know about this story? Does she still have a husband? The guy asked. Well, what can I say? She does not have a husband, but she has a small 5-year-old son who was seriously ill. She needed a large amount of money. She asked for loans, even at the bank where she worked. She was refused everywhere. Also, I went to various funds, but they would not give them so soon. Elena didn't have time. The state was ready to pay, but it was necessary to wait in line. She was left in a desperate situation. She wanted to save her son. She stole a large sum at her own job and disappeared. In a state of passion, I ran wherever I looked, so I ended up in the forest. You know, I feel sorry for her, but she did the wrong thing. Although in her place, anyone would do that. Nikolai finished his story. Wow. How can I help her? After all, she has a son, she needs to be close to him. He doesn't have a father. The guy moaned and covered his head with his hands. He realized that he had not considered her a good girl for nothing. My heart did not deceive me. Nothing. Although it is possible to arrange with the bank so that they take the application. But you will need to return the amount back, the friend replied. I don't have that much, even if I pull out my accumulated money, Oleg replied quietly. After talking with Nikolai, the man thought for a long time. His heart was beating uneasily. He wanted to help. But the decision was not long in coming. A few days have passed. Oleg did not regret his decision. After selling his apartment and taking all his accumulated money, he returned the stolen amount to the bank. Elena was free. I didn't deserve this, because I almost set you up. Forgive me, I will be grateful to you all my life. Elena said in tears. It's okay, don't worry. I gave you everything I had and I don't regret it, said the man and hugged the one he fell in love with at first sight. Elena, Oleg and her son Anatoly lived together in a rented apartment. Elena was tormented by conscience, because Oleg dreamed of his own house and gave up his dream for several more years for her. However, he always repeated, "We will manage," and comforted her with new dreams and hopes. Understand, even though I gave up the house, but I found a family. It's priceless. Oleg was saying and hugging his beloved girlfriend. They got married 2 years later. Anatoly was completely healthy. When he saw his mother in her wedding dress, he began to smile. Daddy, look how beautiful our mom is. The boy was talking and jumping with happiness. She is the most beautiful and the nicest. The groom continued and kissed his bride. You are the best thing I have in my life. After my son, Elena said, laughing. Honey, Tolia and I have been keeping a secret from you. Now is the time to tell you, Oleg said, winking at the boy. Mommy, today after the wedding we are going to live in a new big house. Anatoly continued, clapping his hands. Oleg. How is this possible? Where did you get the money? Did he rob a bank too? Elena asked and burst into a beautiful laugh. No, a friend helped me. He works for a company that sold me cheaper land. I started construction a year ago and now everything is ready for living. Everything is for us, my love, the man said and hugged his Tolia and Elena. Their life was joyful. Oleg never regretted that he helped a strange girl then, because his heart did not deceive him, it instantly fell in love with her and suggested that she was not a criminal. Now the happy family did not live in threesomes. After a while, they had a wonderful daughter who looked like